Hi, my name is Peyton, and this is My Bieber Experience. I went to the Atlanta Jingle Ball on December 12th, and okay, so I didn't have tickets at all, and I'm a broke college kid, so I don't have any money to buy any. Um, so I live like 4 hours away from Atlanta, and I drove. I left my house at like 10, and so I drove like 4 hours. So I got to Atlanta at like 2. And I went in front of the Phillips Arena and was kind of sitting by myself for about 30 minutes probably. And then I realized that I didn't want to sit by myself for however long I was going to be there. So I like looked around and I saw this group of girls and I was like, yeah, like they look pretty nice. And so like I went over there and I was like, hi, my name is Peyton. They're like, oh, my name is so and so and so and so. So like we became really good friends, and they didn't have any tickets either, and they were also college age kids just like me. And actually, one of them goes to my school, which was small world. Um, so we like there was a DJ there for the radio station, and we talked to him for a while. We became kind of good friends with him, and we were like you can get us in, like we know you can get us in. He's like, no, like I really can't, but y'all seem really nice, so like if I can, I will come find y'all and give y'all tickets, but right now like I don't have that power. I can't give y'all any tickets. And so we're like, well, like thanks for trying. And so we stood there for till about 5ish, and these girls come running up, and we'd seen them before, and they had posters that said like will twerk for tickets, and which was kind of funny. And they came running up there like screaming. They're like, oh my gosh, like Kesha gave us tickets. And we're like, what? And they're like, yeah, like we got front row tickets from Kesha. Like she saw our sign. We're like, where'd y'all see Kesha at? And they're like, oh, like go down to the garage and you'll see all of the buses. So we're like, oh, like let's go down there. And so we like ran down the stairs, and we ran to like where like the fence was, and like the buses were like behind the fence. Like we couldn't get to like where the buses were, obviously. And so we got down there, and every time we'd see somebody with a radio pass, we'd be like, hey, like, can you give us tickets? They're like, oh, like, I wish, but I can't. So, whatever. And then we stood there, and, like, nothing really happened. Like, nobody special came out. And so then the girls I was with, there's actually 6 girls now, because, like, two of their friends, like, joined us. So there's, like, 7 altogether. So, like, like, the 6 of them went to go to Chick-fil-A, which was right above us, to go eat. And I said I'd stay down there because I wasn't really all that hungry. So, like, I stood down there, and I got their numbers so I could text them, like, if something happened. And so, like, they left, and, like, 20 minutes later, this bus came, and I was like, oh, I think that's Justin's bus. And so, like, it got closer, and I was like, oh, like, that is. And so I texted one of the girls. I was like, guys, like, Justin's bus is here. I need to come. They're like, okay. So, like, they came running down, like, not more than, like, 2 minutes later, like, Chick-fil-A bags in hand. Like, it was really funny. And so, like, the bus, like, went by us, and you could see Kenny in the window. So we're like, oh, Kenny. I don't think he saw us, but it was still pretty awesome. And then there's a car behind the bus, and the car like got stopped by like security. I don't know. And then like Scrappy gets out, and we're like, oh, Scrappy, like hi. And so like he waved at us, and then we saw somebody in the passenger seat. We asked him if it was Fredo, and he was like, no, like he's in the bus. And so like, oh, like okay. Anyway, so like Kenny came out, and we smiled real big. We're like, hey, Kenny. And he was like, hey, guys. And he like smiled real big. And then he like went to talk to these people in like a car. So like we didn't bother him after that. By this time it's like 7 o'clock, and the concert had already started. The concert started at 7. And Justin wasn't supposed to perform until like 9:30, 10. So anyway, then like we're standing there, and this lady comes by, and she has a pass on. And so we like got her attention, and we flagged her down or whatever, and she like walked over to her. She's like, hey guys, like y'all need anything? And we're like, yeah, like we don't have any tickets. And she was like, oh, well, who y'all here to see? And we're like, Justin. And she's like, oh, like I should have known. She's like, well, I'm interviewing him later, and I'll tell him he has some fans outside that don't have any tickets. And then we're like, oh, thanks. And so she like no problem, and she walked away. And so like after she left, all these people started showing up in like black Escalades, like really nice cars. just like dropping off all these people. We're like, those are really nice cars. Like those have to be like famous people. And so like the first car that like dropped somebody off, they dropped off Flo Rida, which was awesome. We like waved to him and he like waved back, whatever. And then like T-Pain and Kesha's backup dancers. Um, the girl that sings with T-Pain, I don't really know her name. She was there and like they all waved to us. It was pretty awesome. They were like 10 feet away from us, which was really cool. And then this guy comes out. He's like really big black guy. And we're like, he looks really familiar, but like we didn't know who he was. Turns out it was the producer Jazzy Faye. I don't know if y'all know him, but if you do, you know he's like a pretty big producer. So like he waves to us and like walks away, and then like we wait for a while. By this time it's like 8:30, and this other lady comes up and she was like, "You guys have been here for a while, huh?" And we're like, "Yes, ma'am, like 6 hours." And she's like, "It's kind of cold." Keep in mind it was like 40 degrees outside and really windy. And she's like, "Yeah, like it's kind of cold." She's like, "Who y'all here to see?" And we're like, "Justin." And she was like, "Oh, really? How long have y'all been with Justin?" And we're like, "Since the beginning." And it was really funny. And then she pulls out 4 tickets, and we were like she has tickets. And then we realized that there were 4 tickets, but 7 of us. So we were like we want the tickets, but we don't want to go unless like all of us can go. She's like, "Oh, like I'm sure I can get 3 more tickets." And so she like calls over like her little whatever, and this guy comes out and he's like, "Hey, like I hear y'all need 3 more tickets." And we're like, "Yeah, like we do." And so by this time we're all like freaking out. And she was like, "So if y'all are telling me the truth that y'all have been with Justin since the beginning, then who are some of his girlfriends?" And we were like, we don't really know. Like we were so like in shock, like none of our brains were like functioning correctly at all. And so she like let that one slide, and she's like, "Well, who are like some of his guy friends?" And we were like, "Chaz, Ryan." She's like, "Okay." And like as we like answered a question, she'd like give us a ticket, and she asked like, "Who are some of his people that like work with him?" So we like said who like Scrappy was, who Scooter was, who Fredo was, like all that kind of stuff. And so like after everybody answered a question, we like all got our tickets, whatever. And it was great. And then by like this time, this like car drives up and Jazzy Faye gets out, and she was like, "Hey, like Jazzy, like come dance with these girls." And so we're like, "Oh, like this is so awesome." And so we like danced and rapped with him. There's a video somewhere that she took, but I don't really know where it is. But it's awesome. We have like a picture of it. It was so awesome, and he like danced with us and rapped. It was great. Anyway, so like we did that for a while, and then she's like, "Well, like what are y'all waiting for? Like go enjoy your concert."